Hi, I'm Eddie Gomez. It's good to be here in Seoul, my first time. Very, very happy to be here. I hope this is the beginning of many more trips to Korea, to Seoul. Very happy to be here. I met him at the Village Vanguard when I was working with Jerry Mulligan's small group. And so the first time we were playing together at the Vanguard, and I finished my set with Jerry. Bill's manager, Ellen Keane, came up to me after the set and said, Bill would like to say hello to you. And I was very happy about that and was thrilled that when I met him and spoke to him, he was very kind and very generous and said very nice complimentary things, and added that maybe we would get a chance to play sometime in the future. I didn't really pay too much attention to that. I thought he was just being nice, and kind, and he was being kind and nice, so I didn't think about it much at the time. A few weeks later, he called and asked me to go on a tour to California and maybe also up the West Coast. So, of course, I said yes, and so that was the very, very beginning of my meeting with Bill and how I met and how the whole journey with Bill's trio began. It was a very important moment for me. In the beginning, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I just thought, well, this might end any time. Maybe it was just only for a short time, maybe one tour, maybe. And so at some point, I think in Los Angeles, Bill sat down with me and said, I really would love for you to be a permanent member of the trio. And I was so surprised and so happy to hear that from him. It was wonderful news, and I wasn't waiting for him to say that. Big, huge moments for me in my life. I think the only expectation was just to play what was in your heart and to play out and not be shy about playing music. But he didn't say too much. He just he led by example. He was a leader that by example. He was always punctual, always on time, and always played beautifully and at a very high level, very high quality. And that was a great example for anyone, and for me it set an example of what I should try to be. But he never said, oh, do this or don't do that. Or I think he trusted me, and I think all the musicians that he ever encountered and performed with, he felt had this trust. That's why he chose them. So he trusted me to just do the very best I could, and that's what I did. I did the best I could. We all loved Elaine. I thought Bill and Elaine were very close and special. They had lived a particular kind of life together. And so I think it was a big loss. I think it was Elaine's way of saying goodbye to Bill in a very dramatic way, in a very unusual, violent way. But at the end, and I wasn't there at the end, the last couple of years, I wasn't there with him. I think he started losing his love of life, not love of music, because I think when he fell in love with a woman like Elaine, and later on with Nanette, I think it was like he totally gave his heart, like he did to his music. And so I think when something happened, he felt very bad. I think he began to feel like maybe life is too much. But I don't think he committed suicide. I believe he started going back to a lifestyle that was not so healthy. It wasn't healthy. It's a very melodramatic way to put it. It's a way writers speak that way. It's a nice blurb. It's a nice quote. I don't think Bill was intentionally trying to kill himself, so I don't call it suicide. But I think he was letting go. Again, I wasn't there. Some kind of slow leaving life, because when he was younger, he had that kind of unhealthy lifestyle. When he returned to this unhealthy lifestyle, he was older, and his body couldn't sustain it. The older Bill Evans, with the lifestyle that he had, as suicide. I don't call it that. So it's, I mean, I don't want to parse words. I don't want to, this is that, suicide is that. I just think it's different. Bill was not suicidal in my estimation.
So how would you describe that 11 years with Bill Evans?
Well, there were different stages. In the beginning, I was very nervous about it and a little scared and wondered how long this would last, how long be here before Bill says, all right, no, and that never happened. So, Bill was only encouraging, very encouraging. So that was kind of an early stage, then beginning to really feel comfortable enough to learn it peacefully. And those are maybe middle years. And the last few years were when I thought I had really assimilated some of what I could learn from Bill. There was kind of an assimilation. I processed things, and I actually think I was growing that way. And I think we always grow, we keep growing. So I still feel like that process is still going on. It never stops. But with Bill's trio, I felt, and I think I was not so correct, that somehow this was the third stage, and I then wanted to move on to something else. And like I said, I think looking back, I should have not thought of that as the third stage. I think there should have been a fourth stage.
So one last question about Bill Evans. How would you describe Bill Evans in one word?
Inspirational.